I want to talk to you for a second about showing up in the world. Showing up as your true, authentic self and not caring what other people think about how it is that you show up as much as we probably do today. The constant competition that we see on social media about the people that are out making it, they're hustling, they are achieving levels of success that nobody could imagine. 9 times out of 10, what you're seeing and how you're comparing yourself to those that are representing themselves in a certain way is completely false. It's wrong. It is oftentimes a smoke and mirrors. It's a sales job, my friends. That comes from many hours of very fine tuning to get that 30-second, 2-minute reel so that it looks like, ooh, I'm a baller on the Amalfi Coast because, you know, I have achieved a certain level of status, a certain level of success, and I am someone to be reckoned with. Everybody, pay attention to me. You see all of these social media influencers that are out there doing everything they can to get you to not scroll on by, but to click that video or to listen to their message or to see how they are balling out. And it becomes very hard for us normal people, us regular folks, the civilians, who don't have a legion of followers, that don't have a brand deal. We don't have, you know, a planned trip to the Amalfi Coast next week to sit on a really pretty boat as it goes by George Clooney's house. We don't, right? I'll be lucky if I make it to Buda, Texas, and I drive by the Cabela's. This is my life. This is the reality. And I grant you, if I was to put that on a video on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, that would not be nearly as interesting as watching some scantily clad individual diving into crystal blue water off a very expensive boat. I get it. But what happens is that we start comparing ourselves to the lives that other people have that we are not living. And it becomes a sick, slippery slope, because once you see it once, then you start comparing yourself to almost everybody out there. I was talking to another creator the other day, and they had mentioned how difficult it has been for them to get traction. And they were asking me what I'm doing, because my audience has grown a little bit. And I really had not paid all that close of attention to the number of people that started following me, or the new users or new subscribers or whatever. And I appreciated the compliment, but it also made it obvious that they were comparing themselves to me. And that's why they were asking the question. Like I'd figured out some magic formula, and I haven't. I have a great editor. I have a great person that helps steer me in the direction of where the most useful and beneficial content might be out here. But for the most part, I am a solo act. I am flying on my own, and I am putting out messages that I think I need to hear personally, but also if I need to hear it, somebody else out there like yourself might need to hear it as well. And so I was at first very appreciative of the comment, but then I also recognized, gosh, if I am like the high water mark that you're looking at, then oh my gosh, I feel like it's smoke and mirrors. I have that imposter syndrome. I'm not doing anything. I'm not that special. I'm not that great, but they think I am. And I appreciated them being able to communicate that to me, that they were really paying attention and watching what I was doing. But it also reminded me that we oftentimes put ourselves up against some other form of standard. And that, my friend, is where we actually fail. Because let's face it, there's only one Kim Kardashian in the world, and you're not Kim, I'm not Kim. So working towards trying to be the next Kim doesn't work. Just like I would love to have the life that Gary Vaynerchuk has, but I will never likely achieve that level. So I could watch his videos and be like, man, this guy is like constantly putting out content and talking about the hustle culture, and it doesn't matter what it takes, you got to put in the work and blah blah blah, and a lot of good stuff, a lot of good communication that comes from him. But at the end of the day, if I've already waved the white flag that I'll never be him, but yet I'm sucked into the cycle of watching his stuff over and over again and thinking that somehow I should be doing what he says I should be doing, and then when I don't and it falls flat, or I put the video out and nobody watches it, it is the most debilitating thing ever. And what happens when we do that is that we are comparing our own lives and our own experience, even our own creative content, towards or against other people. Their journey is their journey. Your journey is your journey. My journey is my journey. And if we stay firmly fixed on what we need to do and what we need to contribute out there in the world, you may not get 1 million followers. I won't get 1 million views on this video. What I will get is 1 or 2 people who will say, hey, something that you said, something that you did, something that you touched on that made me think of this idea. That's all I am swinging for. Rather than going for home runs or grand slams, I'm just going for singles. I'm going for opportunities to really have a small but meaningful impact on another person's life. When I started to get comfortable in understanding that is my mission, that's the only mission that I have, all of a sudden, everything started to shift and change for me. It was as if all my creative blockage was just clear. New ideas started flowing, great concepts, great things, so many ideas popping right now that I want to do. And will I be disappointed if what I do and then compare against to somebody like a Gary Vaynerchuk or pick any one of the creatives out there? If I'm looking at a comparison between their stuff and my stuff, where do you think I end up at the end of the day after I put in the hard work and I produce whatever this piece of content might be, and then nobody comes? And then I compare myself to Gary and see a post that he made, and then, thousands, tens of thousands of views in the first hour. And then all you do is retreat back into the self, which is like, oh, you're a loser. You're never going to make it. Nobody cares what you have to say. You're just like, one of a bajillion opinions, and you're not going to be the influencer you think you are. The reality is that if I did that, then I would just give up. And I think in my early days making videos, I almost did. I didn't like how I saw myself on camera. I didn't like how I communicated. I didn't feel like I was showing up as the authentic version of myself. I was trying to be somebody that already had a following, somebody that was already making some really amazing content, and I was trying to emulate that in hopes that I could get the flywheel to engage and to actually pick up momentum and hopefully, get an audience. But then it didn't happen, and then I kept going down the scroll of dooming. Dooming of scroll. Scrolling. Doom scrolling. How about that? Doom scrolling. And I would just be depressed. I would be sad, and then I would want to give up and I would want to quit. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I stepped up. I'm glad I kept working. I'm glad that every time that I did or said something that I wish I had said differently, or that I should have put some more thought into before I clicked record, I've learned from those experiences, and I won't say I've come out on the other side better for it, but I will say that on the daily when I put up content and I give it to my editor, I'm proud of what I'm delivering. I'm proud of what I'm giving, and I'm proud that even though I may not have tens of thousands of followers, I may not be making any money whatsoever on the content I put out on YouTube or Instagram, or even at this point my Patreon, but I am putting some stuff out that I think people need. And if nothing else, the content I'm putting together is stuff that I need to say. It's the stuff I need to share. It's the stuff I really need to absorb myself. So I know at least it's helping one person, which is me. It's cathartic to get it out there. It's cathartic to be brave enough to actually push record and then hand it over to somebody and be like, hopefully you can do something with this, right? And I think because I've stuck to that course, I have gotten stronger. I have gotten more confident, and I feel more aligned. So what? What do you care? Why do you care about this? What's the takeaway that I want to give you here? The takeaway I want to share with you is that every time you go to compare yourself against somebody else, you're already losing. You have to do you, boo. You have to stay your course. You have to be focused. And if you're unhappy with the results, or you're frustrated that, whatever it is isn't gaining traction, then find a coach. Find somebody that's already been there and done that, and ask them questions. Say, what can I be doing right now? Would you look at my content? Would you tell me what resonates with you and what doesn't? Or if you saw this body of work that I've done, how would you reposition it so that it could potentially gain wider traction? Just asking those questions to people who actually have done it and might be willing to help you do it as well can be huge. But don't compare yourself to what they did. Don't even think, just by engaging them, that you're going to have anything close to the success that they have. Set your mark a little lower and just say, look, rather than try to impact 1,000 people with my content, my writing, my videos, my audio, my blog, my podcast, whatever it is, I just want to make a difference in a handful of lives. And if I can make a difference in a handful of lives, or if I can inspire somebody with this new creative thing, or if I could show somebody a skill, or I can make this video on, I don't know, the development of my new Farfignogen, that's just a made up term, invention, and let me tell you how I got there. If I can just inspire somebody to take a look and want to take action on some level, even if it is not to buy my product or service, or not to engage me as a coach or whatever, that's fine. But if it gets them off the couch to go do something that they are really destined to do in their life, then I will have accomplished something significant, and so will you, because you will have done the same. And if you can avoid the comparison game and just stick in your lane, find your confidence, I gotta think that the right people are going to show up when you need them, and they are going to appreciate your content, your creativity, your special skill, a genius, and you'll be rewarded in kind for it. Maybe not in massive numbers, who knows? I hope for you it is, as I do for myself. But at the end of the day, if it impacts somebody's life in a positive way, isn't that a win? Think about it. Until next time, my friends, ripple on.